At AARP Missouri, we want to support you as you age. But first, you should learn a little more about us. AARP is a nonprofit organization working to help adults 50 plus in Missouri live their lives to the fullest. We advocate for over 700,000 members on important issues such as strengthening Social Security, protecting access to health care, and ensuring everyone has independence and choice as they age. AARP Missouri also offers online tools, resources, and programs you can access right from the comfort of your home. Learn how to protect yourself from fraud and scams with the AARP Fraud Watch Network. Become an active part of AARP Missouri as a virtual volunteer. Find support while caring for a loved one through our caregiving resources. And enjoy a variety of fun virtual events that improve your health and wellness, like our exercise series, Moving It. At AARP Missouri, there's an entire community waiting for you. Learn more about us at aarp.org/mo.
Hello, everybody. I'm Diane Hall with AARP Missouri, and I would like to welcome you to our second Relax and Renew Yoga for All class. This class is part of AARP Missouri's Moving It Fitness Series. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. Relax and Renew Yoga classes will continue to run through April 9th on Wednesdays at this time. AARP Missouri is pleased to bring you this live virtual event. Please remember, though, while this class is suitable for many levels of fitness, you know your own limitations and do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. If you have any concerns, please check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offering. Here at AARP Missouri, we work to enhance the lives of all people 50 plus and their families. We have resources and information online at aarp.org/mo. And you can find information about AARP activities and events wherever you might be at aarp.org/near-you. Plus, you can learn about AARP volunteering at aarp.org/volunteering. Our efforts to help people live their best lives include many things. Virtual options like this one for caregivers who may have challenges in-person events, resources for protecting yourself against frauds through online information and shred events, and working on livable communities, which goes beyond housing and transportation to include things like social participation that virtual events like this one offer. Now, before we get started, let me remind you to use the Q&A function to ask questions as needed, but do keep in mind, we're going to have a dedicated Q&A time at the end of the yoga class. And speaking of yoga, I'd like to introduce you to our instructor, Kat Robinson. Kat has been a yoga teacher for over 20 years and has a long list of qualifications, including certified yoga therapist, integrative oncology yoga from MD Anderson Cancer Center. She's a graduate of the Yoga Teachers College and much more. Kat is passionate about yoga and sees it not as a one-size-fits-all practice, but rather something that can be adapted to people individually. And we are so pleased to have her with us today. Welcome, Kat.
Thank you, Diane, and welcome to our second session. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know how many of you out there are new today, but I want to just give you a little reminder. You work within your own range of motion. You work within your own strengths. Don't ever feel like you have to be pushed by any poses that I'm doing. You can do it barefoot if you want, or you can do it in your socks. If you have some reason to keep your shoes on, like maybe if you've got diabetes or some reason that you need to have your shoes on, you may go ahead and do that. But typically yoga is done barefoot, so the choice is really up to you. If you leave your socks on and you start to slide in some of the poses, you may want to remove them. But let's go ahead and get started. Last week, we went through our Ujjayi breathing, which is our basic breathing technique, and we're going to go back through that. Not quite as involved this week, but we're still going to go through it and just work on our breathing as we go along. And I meant to give you some homework last week, and this week I'm going to give you some homework. If you just happen to think about me this week and think about your yoga class, which I hope you do, I hope that you can remember to just check in with your breathing, see what it's doing, because that breath is the first thing that we want to do when we do our yoga practice. Doesn't matter how far you go in a pose, doesn't matter how long you hold a pose, but it does matter if you're breathing. Our natural reaction when we get into an awkward situation, whether it's an awkward yoga pose that maybe we're unfamiliar with, or maybe it's even an awkward situation at work or at home, our tendency is to go and hold our breath. But when we do that, we're sending a stress response to the brain. Our brain actually starts thinking that we're suffocating, and it starts going through these chemical reactions in order to protect the body. So no matter what happens in the pose, keep that breath moving, because the main thing that we want to do, aside from all the poses, is we want to keep that relaxation response going to the brain, and we want to get rid of that stress response, at least just for the next hour. So let's go ahead and just bring your arms down at your side. You can bring your thumbs and index fingers together to release that relaxation response to get you started, or you can just let your fingers dangle. It really just depends on you. But just take a few moments to allow your shoulders to drop, allow your shoulder blades to just slide down your back. You're going to really lengthen up through the spine. Now, don't lift the shoulders. Let the shoulders relax. Pull your waist up like you're pulling it out of your hips. We compact. So we want to pull ourselves back up. So we are getting energy into all of our vital organs. We're getting that space, creating that space in our body to keep it healthy. So go ahead and just take a few breaths here. Remember, we inhale through the nose and we exhale through the nose. Allow your shoulders to open, the elbows to open, the wrists to open. And just let that breath flow freely into your body. Relax your lungs. They'll do what they're supposed to do. You don't have to work too hard to get them to do what they're supposed to do. So just relax. And just keep that breath going. Take a few moments just to center yourself. And we're going to do another breathing technique today. It's called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. Now, this particular type of breath, we've thought for years in the yoga business and in the yoga world that it balanced both hemispheres of the brain. But a few years ago, there was some research done that we actually tracked what was going on with this breathing technique, and we were actually looking for that response, and it didn't happen. But what did happen was the brain immediately became alpha. It really brought this calming, relaxing effect to the brain. So how we're going to do this is you're going to take your right hand and you're going to bring your index finger and middle finger in. You're going to leave your thumb and your ring finger and pinky sticking out. This is called the Nasika Mudra. You don't have to remember that, but just, kind of get that little feel for it here. And we're going to bring our thumb to our right nostril and we're going to close it. We're going to take an inhale through the left nostril. Then we're going to bring that index or that ring finger onto the left nostril and we're going to exhale out the right. Inhale through the right. Clamp it with your thumb and exhale out the left. Inhale through the left. Clamp it and exhale out the right. Inhale through the right. Clamp it with your thumb. Exhale out through the left. Let's do one more round. Inhale through the left. Clamp it. Exhale out the right. Inhale through the right. Clamp it. Exhale out the left. And then release your hand down and just breathe normally for a few moments. And hopefully you feel a little bit more relaxed after that. Maybe not, it's new, but just go with it. Trust in the process, trust in the journey. Okay, we're gonna bring that left hand to the right knee. We're gonna bring the right hand to the back of the chair, the back of the seat of the chair, and we're gonna turn our gaze to look over our right shoulder. Keeping the breath moving. Now remember, we wanna make sure that the knees are over the ankles and the knees are in line with the hips. The spine is tall. We're just rotating around the axis of the spine. Keeping that breath moving. On your next exhale, we're going to come back around to the front. You're going to bring your right hand to your left knee. You're going to bring your left hand to the chair behind you. And then you're going to rotate around to look over that left shoulder. Again, don't let the knees fall apart. Keep them even. You're just taking the rotation around the spine. Keeping the breath moving. Keep the spine tall. And on your next exhale, we're going to come back around to the front. Go ahead and bring your hands down in line with your hips. And we're going to sweep our arms up. As you exhale, we're going to release our hands back down. Inhaling up. Exhale, press your hands down like you're pressing through water. Keep some resistance. Really stretch out. Inhaling, bring the arms up, pressing it up like the air's thick and you got to press your arms through it. Exhaling, releasing down. Let's do one more here. We're going to inhale up. And exhaling, pressing the hands down. So we're going to work into the shoulders a little bit today. Let's go ahead and inhale up again. And this time we're going to interlace the fingers. And you're going to turn your palms up and just take a stretch here. Now I want you to just take a moment to just look at what we're doing. We're stretching our arms up and all of the blood in our arms is now flowing down into this armpit area and down the side of the body where we have lots and lots of lymph nodes. So this really kind of helps to boost our immune system and keep us healthy through cold and flu season. And then we're going to bend our elbows. And then we're going to press those palms back up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, press the palms up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, press the palms up. One more time here. Exhale, bend the elbows. And inhale, press the palms up. This time we're going to go ahead and bend the elbows and we're going to separate them nice and wide. Really stretch them open here. Keep that breath moving. And then we're going to exhale. You're going to release your hands down slowly. And I'm sure you're going to feel some energy running back into those arms. Wiggle your fingers a little bit. Roll your shoulders. Squeeze that blood flow into the shoulders. Roll them back 3 times and then roll them forward 3 times. Feels pretty good. We're going to reach behind us. You're going to interlace your fingers behind you if you can. If you need to come up onto your chair to do that, if you can't reach completely. I have very long arms, so I can reach behind me. But if that's hard for you, just pull up a little bit in your chair and bring your arms back behind you and stretch there. So now we're stretching the front of the shoulders open. This is really good for opening up the heart center. We spend a lot of time just kind of rounded over, working on our computer, cooking, driving, all of these things that kind of just keep us kind of rounded. So let's expand and open the chest. And then go ahead and release, bringing your hands onto your knees. So we're going to do some chair, cat, cow. So we're going to just kind of continue with this flow. And we're going to inhale. You're going to lift the chest. Take your gaze up to the ceiling. As you exhale, pull your belly in, round through the spine. Drop the shoulders forward. Inhaling, lifting through the chest. Take your gaze up to the ceiling, stretching the throat. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Inhaling up. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. One more time here, inhaling up. And exhaling, rounding through the spine. Coming back up to your neutral position of just sitting in your chair. And we're going to continue that flow into the arms. So we're going to bring our arms out in front of us. And we're going to start with the right arm over the left. Now, this is kind of subjective. Again, I have kind of long arms and legs. Not everybody does, and that can really make a difference in how you do this pose. If you are able to do this, this is called eagle arms, go ahead and do it. If you can't, just cross your arms like this. Just hold on to your elbows. But just do the best you can. Just find the spot that works for you. Once you're there, if you're in eagle arms, I want you to squeeze those elbows. And then we're going to inhale. You're going to lift the elbows and exhale, lower them back down. This is like a little mini massage that you can give for yourself. Inhale up and exhale down. Two more here. Inhale up, exhale down. One more. Inhale up and exhale down. Now remember, we have another side, so we're going to stretch those arms out nice and wide. Wiggle the fingers. Lower them down. Let the blood flow in. And then we're going to bring them forward. This time we're going to bring the left elbow over the right. Again, find the spot that's going to work best for you. If you're in eagle arms, you're going to squeeze those elbows together. And then we're going to inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Two more. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale up. And exhale, release. Stretch those arms out. Open through the chest and then release them down. Wiggle the fingers, roll the shoulders. And that, like I said, that is something that you can do for yourself at any time. If your shoulders are feeling tight, remember to take this little massage for yourself. So let's go ahead and start working into the core of the body a little bit. So let's hold on to the chair and we're just going to bring the right knee up and exhale down. Inhale, bring the left knee up and exhale down. Inhale the right knee up, keep the spine tall, exhale down. Inhale the left knee up, keep the spine tall, exhale down. Two more each side. Bring up that right knee and release. Bring up the left knee and release. Last one here. Inhale, bring up that right knee and release. Inhale, bring up the left knee and release. Now let's get really ambitious here. Scoot up a little bit on your chair. You can hold on to the back of your chair, the seat of your chair if you need to. And we're going to bring up both knees and release. Up and down. Keep the spine tall. Up and down. One more here. Up and down. Keeping the same positioning, we're going to add on to that. We're going to come up. You're going to stretch the legs out, pull them back in, and release. Up, stretch the legs out, pull them back in, and release. 2 more. Inhale up. You can do this. Stretch the legs out, pull them back in, and release. Last one here. Inhale, pull the knees up, stretch the legs out, pull them back in, and release. Take a moment. Bring your elbows onto your knees, drop your head down, calm your nervous system. Sometimes when we do these things, we get a little angst going in the mind. Just calm down. Just relax. Just take a few moments here. And then we're going to inhale up. That's actually like a chair child's pose, which is a resting pose. And that's always there for you. Anytime you need to take a rest, take it. Okay, we're going to bring that left ankle to the top of the right thigh. We're going to bring our left hand onto our knee, right hand onto our foot, spine is tall. As you exhale, you're going to extend forward with a flat spine. So you don't want to round. Now remember, we don't bend from the waist, we bend from the hips. That's where we have a hinge. The waist articulates, it moves, but when we want to hinge forward, we want to do that from the hip joint. Keep your breath moving. And then inhale up, exhale, release that left leg down. And we're going to do the other side. So you're going to bring that right ankle to the top of the left thigh. Make sure that ankle bone isn't digging into your thigh because it will hurt if it does. You're going to bring your hand onto your knee, your left hand onto your foot. Take an inhale here, exhale out with a flat spine. Keep your breath moving. Just relax into it. We hold an awful lot of tension in our hips and our lower back. And this helps to kind of open that up and stretch it and get some energy into it. Doesn't matter how deeply you go. When you start getting a stretch, you stop there and you breathe. And exhaling, releasing your leg down, and just take a moment here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stretch the right leg out. Again, you may want to come to the front of your mat or of your mat. I'm used to doing floor exercises, so doing the chair, you're going to come to the front of your chair. Get the spine tall, and then we're going to exhale. If you can reach down and take a hold of your foot, go ahead and do that. If not, just hold on to your calf or even your thigh. It doesn't matter. How far you go is just, it's not even a thing. Just go to wherever you feel a stretch, stay there and breathe. When we are really working, trying to, get deeper into a pose, first off, we're going to meet resistance. Anytime we try to force something, we're going to meet resistance, whether it's a yoga pose or if it's an everyday life. But when we can just go to our edge, stop there, wherever it is for you, stop there and breathe, then this allows your body to open up organically, to just release and let that energy flow. And then on your next inhale, you're going to come back up, bend that knee, and we're going to stretch the left leg out. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take an inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale, bend through the hips, reaching out, grasping wherever is comfortable. And you may find that one side you can go a little deeper on than the other. This is perfectly normal. We all have a dominant side where one side may be a little stronger, one side may be a little more flexible. What we tend to do is we will find a place in our body that's strong and flexible, and we'll just kind of keep exploiting that. So if you find that one side is much tighter than the other side, my recommendation is when you're doing your own home practice, hold the side that's tighter for an extra breath. It'll start to balance out and help that muscle imbalance. Keep your breath moving. Don't lose that breath. And then we're going to inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Let's come to stand. So I'm going to turn my chair where I have the back to me. And we're going to just have it where it's sitting there. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. You don't have to turn your chair to the side, but I want you to see what the pose looks like on a side view. So I'm going to take a step back with my right foot. Now my left foot is going to still be here. It's still up by the chair. Let's go ahead and bend that knee. Now, don't let the knee go past the ankle. If you feel like you're not getting enough of a stretch, you can move your chair a little forward, move that foot up, or you can stretch that back foot back a little farther. But let's go ahead, lift through the chest, press down through that right foot. So you're getting lots of energy going through that right leg. And just lift the chest. Now, if you feel really strong and able to do this, I don't want anybody to fall. So if you need the chair, please use the chair. But if you want to, you can bring your arms up. This is called Warrior One pose. It's a little bit of a back bend. It's a little bit of a stabilizing pose. It's a lot good for us. On your exhale, we're going to release the hands down, and then we're going to inhale, step that right foot up. Then we're going to step back with the left foot. Same thing. Now, you're going to want those hips squared toward the chair. So you may have to turn that left heel out a little bit to do that. Again, find a spot that's working for you. Lift through the chest. Take your gaze up if you can. You know, if balance is an issue, don't look up. Either look straight ahead or even down at the floor. If I'm having a problem with balance and I want to ground, I'm going to look at the ground. So whatever you need to do, that's where you're going to take your gaze. And then if you want to bring your arms up, you can. But wherever you are, keep that breath moving. And then we're going to release the pose and inhale, step that left foot up. Take a moment. And then we're going to step back. I'm going to turn my chair this way because this one, the hips square to the front. So we're going to step back with the right foot. And this time we're going to line up the toe and the heel of the left foot with the center of the arch of the right foot. And then we're gonna come into a pose called Warrior Two. You're gonna bend that front knee, make sure it does not go past the ankle. So you want it can be back from the ankle, but don't let it go forward, because if you continuously do that, you're gonna hurt your knee, and we don't want that to happen. And then we're gonna bring that right arm out in line with your shoulder. Little toe side of the right foot stays pressed down into the mat. And you're gonna turn your gaze to look over toward that left arm. Keeping the breath moving. If you can extend both arms out, go ahead. If you have your arms stretched out, both of them, it's as if somebody's pulling you in two different directions. I think most of us can relate to that. So just go ahead and stretch those arms out like you're trying to reach something that's just a little bit out of your grasp. Keep your breath moving. And then we're going to go ahead and release the pose, step that right foot up, and we're going to do the other side. So we're going to step back with the left foot. Again, lining up the toe, heel, and arch alignment. And then we're gonna go ahead and bend that front knee. Make sure that it doesn't go past the ankle. Left arm comes up in line with the shoulder. Little toe side of the back foot stays pressed into the mat. And if you can bring both arms up, go ahead. Use that chair if you need it. It's very important. Keep your breath moving. This is good for us. Exhaling, releasing the pose, and step up. Now, if you were here last week, you probably remember downward facing dog, which I had some reports that this was a much nicer way of doing downward facing dog for arthritic wrists. I have several students who have problems with their wrists. So yeah, take care of them. Don't put that undue pressure if you don't need to. So we're gonna face the chair, and you can have your hands on the back of the chair, and you're gonna walk your feet back until your ears can line up with the insides of your arms, if they can. If this is as far as you can go, that's as far as you can go. But if you can go all the way, go for it. If this doesn't feel like enough of a stretch, you can turn the chair around and bring your hands onto the seat of the chair. And that gives you a little bit of a deeper pose. Now, do you see the traction that happens in the spine when we do this? And can you feel the traction in the spine as you do this? It really opens things up, energizing us. Keep your breath moving. And then we're going to go ahead and inhale. Walk our feet up. And very slowly, keep your head down until you get all the way up. You're going to roll yourself up to stand and then lift the head. We're going to take a moment. Go ahead and keep in that standing position if you can. This is called mountain pose. It's one of our most active but most basic poses. And we're just basically stacking our bones in this. We're just aligning our body. When our body is not aligned, when we're kind of slumped into ourselves or we're using poor posture, and we all do it. I do it too. We all do. When we do that, we're actually cutting off our energy. Think of kinking a hose. It happens to us too when we do this. So when we can pull ourselves up in a good alignment, stacking our bones, stacking everything, our blood vessels, everything, because yoga doesn't just stretch the muscles, it stretches everything. It allows our energy to flow. And we're going to do tree pose. So this is a balancing pose, and I want you to make it your own. I want you to have fun with it. Have fun with it like if you were 8 years old and you were trying to hop on one foot. So you're going to take your chair, you're going to bring your right hand down onto it. You're going to take your left foot and you're going to bring it to your ankle, to your calf. If you can bring it all the way up to the inside of your thigh, go ahead and do that. I have a knee injury on this side, so I'm going to keep my foot below my knee on this side. Pay attention to those things. If you have an injury, if you have something that prevents you from going all the way into the full form of the pose, modify it. Go to where you can comfortably. Bring your left hand with your thumb to your heart or to your sternum. If you can bring both hands together and press the palms together firmly, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, stay right here. But keep that breath moving. Find a focal point. Stick with that focal point. And if you wobble around a little bit, that's okay, as long as you don't fall down and hurt yourself. Keep breathing, keep the mind calm. And then we're gonna switch sides. So I'm gonna move to the other side of my chair. You can too. So that right leg is on the outside. Find your focal point first. That's really kind of an important part of this, is to not look around. If you look around, you're gonna scatter all of your energy around. Keep your energy contained within you. Find a focal point that's not moving. And we're gonna bring that right foot to the ankle, to the calf, or to the inside of the thigh. Bring your right hand to your heart. If you can bring both hands to your heart, go ahead. And you may feel that left leg kind of wobbling and getting all these little micro adjustments to keep you balanced. That makes us incredibly strong. But be where you are. There is nothing more important than being where you are. There is nothing more important than being who you are. And then exhale. Go ahead and release the pose. Let's give our legs a little shake here and shake that blood flow into it. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have a seat back into our chair again. And this time we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cross the right leg over the left. We're gonna take an inhale here, and as you exhale, you're just gonna extend forward again with that flat spine. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. Other side, just kind of open it up here. We're gonna take an inhale here, and as you exhale, extend forward. Just kind of release out those hips a little bit. And then inhale, back up. So we're gonna go ahead and separate the knees nice and wide. We're gonna turn our toes out, and we're gonna come into a modified form of goddess pose. So you get the toes turned out, your spine is tall, you're gonna bring your arms out in line with your shoulders, you're gonna turn the palms up, and you're gonna bend the elbows. You're gonna make a goalpost. Score. You're gonna make a goalpost here, not a W. Do the best you can, and try to keep those elbows in line with the shoulders. Take a few breaths here. Always keep breathing, never lose that breath. We're gonna bring the left elbow down to the top of the left thigh. And then you're gonna bring that right hand straight up to the ceiling. Again, keeping the breath moving. If it's hard for you to look up at your hand, just look straight ahead. Or even down at the floor, doesn't matter. It's all good. And then we're gonna release that right arm down to the top of the right thigh. We're gonna stretch that left arm up. Again, find the spot that works for you. And exhaling, release. Go ahead and bring those legs back together. Come into a nice seated position. You're gonna pull your right knee into your chest. Just take a few breaths here. Again, you can bring your hands under your knee if you like. You can use a strap to hold your knee up. Whatever works best for you. And then we're gonna switch sides. You're gonna bring the left knee up. Again, finding that spot that works for you. It's a little warmer in the studio this week than it was last week. Last week it was 60 degrees and outside. This week it's 76 degrees outside. I like this weather much better. Go ahead and exhale down. So we're getting a little warm in here actually. So let's go ahead and just cool ourselves down a little bit. Take a few breaths, relax the shoulders. And I want you to just close your eyes and just let those shoulders drop. I want you to just take a little bit of a few moments of just observing what's going on in your body. Where you may be feeling some tightness still. Maybe you feel more open. Just notice, no judgment. Don't judge yourself and say, well, I don't feel open, or I still don't feel tightness on my body. Don't, just observe. Just notice what's going on. When we're aware of what's going on in our body, when we're really in tune with our body and we know what's going on with it, we're more likely to know when something's wrong. And so always connect with your body. Your mind and your body you can't separate them. They are so connected. And, and of course, this is kind of a trifecta here because it's mind, body, spirit. When our mind and our body is balanced with each other, it can't help but lift our spirits and make us feel better. So just take a few moments. And then I'd like to invite you to take your awareness to your feet and just notice what's going on there. And let your feet relax. Sometimes caregivers spend a lot of time on their feet. Just let them relax, let them soften. Relax your ankles. Relax your shins and your calves. Relax your kneecaps and the backs of your knees. Relax your thighs and the backs of your thighs. Relax your buttocks and your pelvic floor. Relax your abdomen and your lower back. Relax your chest and your upper back. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms. Relax your hands and your fingers. Relax your throat and the back of your neck. Relax your face, your jawline, your mouth. Relax your eyes and that little spot between the eyes. Relax your forehead and your temples. Relax your scalp and your skull. And relax the crown of your head. Just relax. Just relax. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. If you were here last week, thank you for coming back. If you're new, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I look forward to seeing you next week, but until then, namaste. The divine in me bows to the divine in you.
Thank you so much, Kat. That was awesome. I'm not sure that the dog was as relaxed as the rest of us, but I think it works for
him. That's Ranger. He always has to get his advice in too.
Until we decided to relax.
Why do that?
Well, now, as I said at the very beginning, we have a little time for Q&A, and I'm sure some of you have questions. So please, the Q&A function where it says Q&A, we've got Paula who says thank you again, which is not a question, but just a little bit of love for you in the chat there. If you have a question about any of the poses or modifications or some of the benefits, anything that you would like to know, please put it in there. And we will ask Kat about that. But if you don't, I have questions, of course, that I will ask Kat. My one question that I have is yoga. I mean, I've seen it work and I've done it before. It's not the first time, not my first rodeo, but is there a science behind how yoga works to relax mind and body?
You bet. You know, for you, nobody had to tell me that it worked because I knew from experience that it worked. But it's nice to have that research. And yoga has been heavily researched for several years now, probably 20 years or more. I think the research probably started right about the time I started teaching. You know, it was kind of big on the Oprah Winfrey show, and it was really getting out there. And, you know, and that was kind of something that, you know, people would say, well, I saw that on TV or I saw it in a magazine. And I think that really kind of spurned the research behind it. But we found out that it really does work. And most of the things that we thought were the case were. Now, there were a few things that, like with the alternate nostril breathing, we thought that it balanced both hemispheres of the brain. It does not, but it does make us very calm. So, you know, that's a tool that you can take with you throughout the day, that if you start getting anxious or your mind starts getting kind of, you know, getting away from you, getting a little too much in your head, you can always calm yourself back down with that. But for the most part, we found out that it's a distinct science. I mean, it dates back to the Vedics, you know, and its sister science is Ayurveda, which is, you know, literally means life science. And so, you know, there is so much science behind this. It's just, I mean, I could go on all day about it, but it just really does what it says it's going to do. And, you know, this isn't an exercise that, you know, lifting weights and, you know, is going to pump you up and things like that, which this will get you in shape. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Doing yoga, you know, can be gentle and relaxing, or it can be a vinyasa class that is, you know, sweaty and, you know, challenging. But really what we strive to do more than, you know, tone and get those six-pack abs, we want to open up our energy channels. We want to release the tension that gets around our joints. One of the philosophies of yoga is that our energy gets bound up in our dense connective tissues, which is at all of our large joints. So when we stretch and we open that out, it allows blood to flow better, oxygen to flow better. You know, there's so many benefits to this form of exercise that go way beyond the aesthetic. It's really about what's going on more inside. And if you're healthy on the inside, it's going to reflect on the outside. You know, that's going to be absolutely the case.
Thank you very much. As soon as I ask one question, then like 5 populate.
Perfect. Let's go.
I'm going to answer one that someone asked that is strictly on the technical side. The link for the yoga classes, each one is unique for each session. So each session you register for has a different link to join. So make sure that you watch your email for that. So that's something to know. Kat, you mentioned, Amy's asking, you mentioned homework after this session. What's the homework and where will we find that?
Check your breathing. Check your breathing. If you happen to think about me this week, I hope you do. If you happen to think about your class, check in and see what your breathing's doing. Make sure you're not just breathing to your chest or breathing shallow. Carry that breath deeply into your body. That's all you need to do. You know, the breath is so important. And when we get to about the age of 8, we stop breathing correctly. If you look at a baby or a young child, they breathe deep. Their little bellies expand when they breathe. But we get to about 8 or 9 years old, and for no better term, we just get lazy about it. And so it's literally having to retrain ourselves to breathe correctly. And, and the best way to do that is just to check in with your breath every once in a while.
Okay, good. So Nancy wants to know, in eagle arms, are your hands clasped or open?
It really depends. If you can clasp them, see, I have no problem clasping my hands, but I've got some people that they can't go beyond this, or they'll hold on to their wrist. So really just take it to where it's going to work for you.
Okay. Joanne says, thank you so much. And Kathy says, no questions, just feel calm. Thank you for what you do. Cynthia wants to know some ideas for how to improve balance.
Practice your balance. One of the things that I really recommend for my students, a chair is great, but when you're maybe in your kitchen, the kitchen counter is not going to move with you. You're not going to have a chair slide with you. It's the perfect height. If you're cooking in the kitchen, maybe take a tree pose and just start working on that balance. And even with tree pose, if you just bring your foot where your toes are on the floor still and just kind of gradually edge them up, that will help improve balance too.
Excellent. Here's another technical question. Charlene wants to know about casting to the TV screen. I'll have to look into that, Charlene, because I think that might be individual to your device, but maybe it's something I enabled last time and didn't enable this time, but I will have to check on that because I do not know. Because yes, it absolutely be.
You have Roku, if you have like a Roku device or Chromecast or any Amazon, any of those, YouTube is on there. So it should pop up on your TV.
It would if you were doing the recorded version, but this is a live.
Oh, it's a live version. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that, and if I can figure it out and have a good answer for you, we can put it out in the next class, hopefully. Donna has a question about nostril breathing, that was a new one on me. I've not done that before. You just nostril breathing every day without the yoga positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That would certainly make you focus on your breathing.
It does. It makes you focus on your breathing, and there is that benefit. In yoga, we look at both sides of the body as individuals. So the left side of the body is actually considered the female side of the body, and the right side of the body is considered the male side of the body. And so that kind of brings them together. There's lots of benefits to it. So absolutely. You can do any of these things anytime. If it feels good to you and it feels like it's something you want to do, it doesn't have to be, the full class. If you're feeling really tight in your shoulders, do a few things to open the shoulders. We did quite a few things today. Your breathing, anytime you need to stop and do some breathing, please do that. So I do yoga every day. I may not do a full hour or a full practice, but usually I'll do some in the morning, and then I'll do some in the afternoon, and maybe even a little in the evening to kind of unwind and get ready for bed. So anytime that you feel like you need to do a few poses or you need to stretch somewhere, please feel free to do that anytime. Yoga can't hurt you. It can hurt you if you push yourself too hard, but you can't do it too much. You can do it anytime you feel like you need it.
Yeah, I have to laugh. I have a friend who also teaches yoga who feels like yoga is an anytime thing, and she confessed downward dog in line at Walmart checkout. So,
and it draws a lot of attention. People will look at you and go, "Hey, what are they doing? That looks so great. I want to do it too." Actually, I don't recommend that. The floors are dirty at Walmart.
I thought
there's lots of shoes on those floors.
All right. Jana says, thank you for a great session. Appreciate your comment acknowledging the hand wrist issue with down dog pose. Really felt the stretch and release with the chair version. So that was a great modification.
Good.
Someone says it would be easier for us if you use the body part on the right side, but say the left side, which is how we see it. Can you do that for us? Trying to do the camera left and camera right thing, which might be a little challenging to do. But I guess, does it matter if you say right and we just match whatever side we see? Is that, as long as we do both?
No, because we do both sides.
Okay.
So yeah, if I'm doing my right side and you're doing your left side at home, that's okay. You can just switch sides the next time.
Okay, here's a good question that might help some folks, because I think you're different body types. You're talking about having long arms and legs, and you're like, you can do this, but some people can't.
Right.
Someone says, I really enjoyed the session, but I'm having to modify quite a bit because I'm short and busty. Is there a better way to adjust? Is there a best way to adjust?
You really just kind of have to find where it's going to work for you. You know, we can give you the modifications, but body orientation and body shape does have a whole lot to do with whether or not poses can be accomplished. Using a block, yoga blocks. I don't have my yoga block here. Using a yoga block will help. You know, they come in different sizes, and one will be maybe a 4-inch block, and one might be a 3-inch block, but they have, I'm going to grab one. Hold on one second.
Okay. So while she's grabbing that block, I will tell Kathy that if you miss a session, you will get a link to the recording of the session if you register for the session. So if you register and miss it, you'll get a link to it, and it'll be in our YouTube channel. So that's the way you can always find them. Okay, go ahead about the modifications, Kat.
Okay. As you can see on this block, it has different sides. You can turn it this way. You can turn it this way. Or you can turn it this way, and it will give you different levels of height. So for instance, if you want to do a forward fold and you can't touch the floor, which is actually kind of hard to do from a chair, a block really helps with that. So you could, you know, if this works for you, or if this works for you, or if you have to turn it up on its end, wherever it's at, just that will help. Also, a strap will help you get into different poses. Maybe you can't reach your foot. You know, this is something that is kind of an important thing. If you're trying to reach something and you can't, and you're really struggling to try to reach your toe or reach your foot, you're sending a stress response to your brain. So it's much better to use a strap and hold on to that strap and go to where it's working for you and keep that brain calm. And your body will automatically start to open up if you do that. But if you're struggling, again, that's going to start that stress response. You know, and there's other things that you can use. There's all kinds of yoga props. There's bolsters. There's wedges for different things. You know, you might want to just take a look on a yoga supply side of any kind and take a look at things that you might help you with your practice. Books, a book will work in place of this. If you don't have a block, you can use a book. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a necktie, you can use a belt, a dish towel, pretty much anything that you can use to make it more accessible for you.
Yeah, I think the straps and the belt or whatever, if you can't reach far enough because you have body in the way, that'll help your reach.
Right, and that really helps to, you know, to do that. And, you know, I have several students. We all have different body sizes and types. Our bodies are unique to us. We are not cookie cutter. This is why it's really hard for me to, I've never really gotten into like the calisthenic type workouts, because it was always, you know, give me 20 of these, give me 30 of these or whatever. And if you couldn't do it, the coach stood over you going, you owe me 5 more. With this, it doesn't matter. You're perfect where you are. Your body is perfect where it's at right now. You're perfect where you're at right now. It's just learning to work with your own body. And we have to be taught that. I remember when I first started doing yoga, I couldn't touch my foot. There were so many things that I couldn't do that now I can. Of course, that's 23 years of practice, or more. I've been teaching for 23, but probably 30 years of practice. But your body will eventually respond to that. And you know, there are people that, men in particular, are very, very tight in the hips. So men have a very hard time in a forward fold reaching their feet. Sitting on a pillow to lift the pelvis and kind of tilt it back to where it belongs will also make that a little easier. So there's so many things that you can do. I wish that I had more time that I could explain a lot of these things. It's almost impossible to do it all in an hour session, but I'm hoping at the end of this 8 weeks that we've kind of gone over everything and you've got some tools that you can use and help you progress through this.
Okay, we're pretty much running out of time. 2 more things. Dawn Marie says, thanks so much for offering the class. See you next week. And Dawn Marie, I'm glad you were able to get in because we had to send you an extra link. And Amber wants to know, does it matter the type of chair that you use? Is a chair with arms okay, or do you need a non-arm chair?
It really depends. If you need those arms, if you have a hard time getting up and down out of a chair, you may want those arms. One thing that I really think could be a problem is if the chair is too wide. A folding chair works really well, but something that's sturdy, a sturdy kitchen chair is going to work well for you. But if you have a chair that's too wide, some of the yoga positions are going to be harder to get into.
Okay. All right. And one more. Sharon says, thanks for this session. But we are literally out of time and almost.
Thank you so much.
So, Kat, thank you so much for your time and leading us through the class today. We'll be back again next week. And thank all of you.
Same cat channel.
Yes, indeed. All of you for joining us for Relax and Renew Yoga for All. We do invite you to come back and join us next week to continue your self-care journey. Remember to register for our upcoming sessions at aarp.org/movingit. And while you're there, don't forget to register for our Relax and Renew sweepstakes too. Until next week, please be as good to yourself as you are to others. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Goodbye.